The church is a sanctuary that allows a closer relationship between humanity and the divine, being a kind of point that connects two totally different worlds. This strong mystical link makes the place extremely conducive to peculiar events, ranging from miracles to strange moments. When recorded in photos or videos, these moments often cause astonishment, instilling even more devotion or even fear in the people who were there. Would you be afraid to see such a thing from a mass? Be a part of the channel, guys! Help us get to 10,000 subscribers by subscribing, liking the video, commenting, and sharing. Now, prepare your heart, right? Because here are the 8 records made in churches. I am Tiago Tadeo, and welcome to the Upside Down. The Ghost of Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas is perhaps one of the best known saints on the entire planet, even if many people don't know it. The Santa Claus of Christian culture is an association with the man who lived between the 3rd and 4th centuries after Christ, and who, in his lifetime, performed several works that led to his canonization. There are several stories and legends about Saint Nicholas, many of them taking into account that he was a great friend of the needy, always trying to organize ways to help them. And so, he became patron of countries like Greece and Russia, and ended up having different churches around the world named after him. This must be a blessing appreciated by many. However, one church in particular in the town of Thorn, England does not seem to have as good of luck as other places where Santa Claus has passed. The Church of St. Nicholas is known to be haunted, guys. Although many people don't believe it, of course. That's more or less what 2 friends thought while they were in the city of about 17,000 inhabitants. Natalie Wilson and Carrie Morris were visiting and decided to go to the church for tourist purposes. But maybe someone didn't like the situation very much and decided to make an appearance in the friend's photo. During a selfie, a face can be seen in the background. They reported that there was no one around and only noticed that detail about the photo when they got home. Bizarre, huh? The record only corroborates the dark stories of the place that, in its vicinity, is known as the Gates of Hell. Doesn't sound very healthy, does it? But what can you do? Remembering that there are always legends created in the religion by people who believe in specific topics, it has no direct involvement or issue with any religion. The mysterious demon gargoyle. In April 2020, a video began to circulate in a bombastic way on Facebook and contained images that were chilling. Someone would have filmed the gargoyle of a church in Italy. It's worth mentioning that I live here, okay? I'm scared now. Well, basically, it moved and took flying through the skies of the country. That would be enough to scare anyone. After all, these creatures have a terrifying appearance and serve to tell the faithful of the Middle Ages that the devil never sleeps. Being attacked by such a creature could only mean a bad thing. The video went viral in such a way that ended up being analyzed by partners of the social network, who aimed to do a fact-checking of the suspicious content. The case ended up being analyzed by the newspaper Estadão, one of the largest in Brazil, you know, which denied the veracity of the video. After the research was done, they found the video posted on Facebook was a clipping of special effect animation made by the channel that specializes in this, called JJPD Productions. Now, can you imagine how proud you'd be of seeing one of your works being confused with reality? Oh, right. In the end, the demon gargoyle was not a true record, but it shook social media a lot, and the fears of those who believe in it. But how to place someone who is afraid of that, right guys? Gargoyles are weird as hell. Bone Chapel. There is no photographic or video record of a sinister event taking place at the Chapel of Bones, located in Évora, Portugal. However, this is still one of the most interesting religious sites on the planet, and any photo taken from there is already enough to make anyone shiver. As the name implies, the Chapel of Bones is a construction based on human skeletons. Its walls are full of skulls and other body parts that were placed there to represent the fragility of life. At least, that's how the creator of the chapel intended it, right? At the entrance, there is a phrase that is shiver-inspiring. You see, it reads somewhat like this: "We, bones that are here, await for yours." It's enough to scare many visitors, right? Other poems with the theme of death are also scattered around the place. One of them even asks about the hurry of the visitor who's reading the poem. It seems a little current with our reality, right? However, despite the fear that the chapel can generate in people, the place is one of the most visited and interesting in the region. The most bizarre thing about this whole story is the record from where all the more than 5,000 bones were taken. The city of Évora would be experiencing a problem of overcrowding in local cemeteries, especially those intended for men of faith. such as monks. The idea was then conceived of removing bones from the graves to talk about life and death. There are two strange points in all of this, guys. First, it is that in the period of construction of the chapel, it was considered a sacrilege in the church to remove a body from where it lays in its eternal rest, right? The second is that, as horror movies say, you should never mess with the cemetery. Did the construction leave some souls disturbed on the site? Well, we can only find it out for sure by visiting, and this is definitely a place I want to visit. The Monster of the Mass. When talking about strange recordings made in churches, this image is one of the most seen on the internet. The nefarious creature that appears behind the priest during a frightening mass, guys. After all, how in a moment of such faith a monster could appear, right? The fact is that this story is inside another story. The image disseminated on social networks is nothing more than a very terrifying montage. Although that doesn't exclude the fact that monsters may have appeared somewhere around the world, right? We can't say that they don't exist. But when it's a montage, you know I like to say it's a montage. As I said, this is a story behind another story that is also quite strange. The mass monster is a small hoax, but the record of this mass had an unusual occurrence. The event was being filmed and televised. The priest was performing the moment of transubstantiation when he sought to transform the bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ. Something normal, right? This is one of the holiest moments of the Mass, and it is also often the most moving. What happened in the footage was that the bread floated for a few moments. Looking quickly at the images, it seems that the bread shakes because someone has bumped into the table. But in the detail, it is possible to see that it really stops touching the container there, and of course, it surprises anyone. Right? Could this be a miracle, guys? A divine interference? This will depend a lot on the belief of each one. Of course, after the event, the image with the strange being was posted on the internet. But one thing is certain, behind that day, there could be a lot of things happening, right? An unexpected visit. Have you ever imagined seeing a loved one many years after he or she is gone? This is exactly what happened in England, when a woman named Heather Sewell reported seeing her late husband in a photo taken inside the church. The image would have been captured at the christening of Sewell's granddaughter, and in it would be the family nucleus. What the family didn't know was that their grandfather would be among them, but in a different way, of course, right? Paying an unexpected visit, perhaps. The man stunned everyone when the photo was revealed to their relatives in the christening. The fact was even reported in The Sun, with her report there, right? With the woman saying she is amazed by the situation, and that, direct quote, it was a little disturbing to see his face. Now, how weird is it to have a visit from beyond at family events? I confess that I felt a little shiver, see? I don't know what I would do. But tell me, what would you do if you saw this? The Plague Phantom. Great Britain is a very busy region when it comes to strange apparitions, especially when it comes to churches. Because it is a relatively old country, and with a history full of wars, stories of hauntings from the dark times there are common. This is exactly what plagues Tintern Abbey, located in Wales. The place is another church plagued by ghosts that, theoretically, right, many theories disturb the lives of its visitors. This, of course, for those who believe in the stories. There are old reports from the last century telling that specters, monks, even a knight would be popping about there. Among these stories, a photographic record stands out in recent years. In 2018, a woman was Rose Bolton when she took some pictures passing the church. Of course, she's not a person who takes a picture of every monument she sees. Rose had ulterior motives, and she is known to be a ghost hunter. Amateur, but she follows that style. I'll tell you, I'd keep my distance, you know? Well, she ended up bumping into a strange apparition. Yeah, she did. In the photo, it is possible to see an image standing out in the next entrance door of the abbey. Looks like a hooded man, like a monk might dress up maybe. But why was there such a ghost in the church? The abbey was built in 1131, and during its almost 3 centuries, it went through a clear war, the Black Death. And that is a lot, right, of historical events. The plague problem, by the way, was one of the main factors for the decline of the Abbey of Tintern, because it killed most of the monks who lived and took care of that place. Because it caused enormous suffering, it is possible that some souls are still troubled by the situation. And look, it's not an easy story, is it? But between us, do you believe this really could be taking place there? Leave it in the comments. Lukova Church. The most impressive and perhaps strangest record of today's video, however, takes place on a small church located in a tiny town called Lukova in the Czech Republic. To get an idea of how tiny this city is, an article on the Insider website says that there are only 5 people living in that region permanently. The church in question is a structure that has been abandoned since the 1960s, but has had its glory days, yes. Its closure came when the roof collapsed during a funeral. That alone is quite chilling, right? But what chills the most are the ghosts that inhabit the church and never leave it. Known as the ghost of Lukova, the apparitions can be seen by any visitor who dares to reach the site. There are more than 30 scattered inside the church, sitting on benches or standing, all attending a mass that will never end. Imagine having an end like that, huh? A real haunting. Far from it. Although terrifying, the ghosts are the work of the artist Jacob Hadrava, who in 2012 was challenged by his teacher to do a job that would help raise funds to revitalize churches in the Czech Republic. The finding of the Church of St. George in Lukova gave Jacob the idea who decided to make the ghosts with the central idea of representing the abandonment of the church. It is worth noting that the historical context of the country is relevant to the play. That's because the Czech Republic is the 4th least religious country on the planet. The images of this church are frightening and impressive, aren't they? Look, I'll tell you, they look very real. Guys, today's video will end here. Leave here in the comments which of these places you were most surprised to see. Don't forget that there's a new video every day here, so just check if your bell is active so you don't miss anything, okay? See you tomorrow, guys. A hug, be well, and until next time.